What is up, lads? My name is F1 Luke Sam, and today we're going to be going through my favourite and least favourite liveries for the 2024 season. A lot of people had a problem with the carbon fibre this season, but I'm one of the minority, and I actually kind of like it. I think a lot of the liveries this year were absolute flames. A lot of the rankings are kind of high, but it evens out because they're all very high. All kind of bar one. Maybe I'm just very easy to please. Maybe I'm just very excited that it means F1 is back soon. But I love most of the liveries this season. Now let's get into it, starting with number 10. Number 10, the potential was so high. This team is doing something completely new. They're completely rebranded and they had a clean slate to work with. The color scheme is so sick. I think the car though, it's just straight poo. I'm talking about Steak F1 team. I thought the song and dance with the car launch was actually good. The sound effects, the thunder, the lighting, and then they showed the car. F1 fans last year said that everything has too much waffle. These car launches are just waffle, waffle, waffle when all we want to see is the car. A lot of teams, Steak F1 team not included this year, have cut out the waffle and just shown the car, which I think it's now funny that F1 fans are now saying, where's the waffle? Maybe I'm too harsh on this one, but it's kind of like building up a holiday. If you're really excited to go on this holiday and it's up here, but you end up having this much fun, it's worse than you imagined. The photos look cool, the rendered photos look sick, but the car launch, it just looks childish. It looks like they went through a slime car wash on the way there. I think the K on the kick logo, thanks to the logo design, looks blockish. Therefore, this is a Minecraft fan's wet dream. I think this car needs two different scores, one under lights and one in daylight. I think the daylight is going to look like absolute poo, but the car under lights should look good. With that, I give it a 4 out of 10. Sorry, Steak. They cooked with the front of the car, I'll give them that. But the rear of it, I don't know what was going on there in the brain department. I'm just happy that Steak and Sauber love their one-off liveries so we don't have to see this monstrosity every single race this year. In the number 9 spot, we got a team that is too poor to afford a launch. I think this is the best livery that they have ever had. I still think it's the 9th best on the grid. To be fair, I'm giving it a 6.5, so for me, just below average. I'm talking about the Haas car. I think a Chipotle sponsorship will always be welcome, and I like that they've put the American flag on the front nose. For me, what makes and breaks a car is the fin, I think it's called, and the nose. I think they've done well with the nose, incorporating the black and the red and the white. I also think that any side pod where whatever sponsorship or team name runs with the side pod looks absolutely amazing. It could say Gunter, it could say change your fucking car. As long as it runs along the side pod, it's a big tick from me. I really like black liveries, and black, red, white, it all goes together, but the black and the white being so prominent on the car makes it look just kind of uninteresting. It's too bad all this carry on and no Gunter is just going to see them finish last in the championship, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, baby. I give it a 6.5 out of 10. For number 8, I've given it a 7 out of 10, and for me, 7 is bang on average. I was very harsh when this car was released because it's so similar to last year. I just think it's a downgrade, but after looking back, a 7 is a fair assessment of it. This is probably the biggest drop from any car last year compared to this year, and I can't quite pinpoint why it's Aston Martin. It's hard to go wrong with such a dark green. I like the strips that are going through it, but they're less prominent than last year, so it doesn't quite work as well. The only team that can get away with a solid colour is Ferrari, but that goes back to the history of Ferrari. With the lime yellow strip being less prominent, it has gone down in my rankings. Not to mention the Aramco on the side pod, the carbon fibre on top of the side pod. For me, it's just not quite it. There's this twang to it and I can't quite understand why I don't like it as much as last year. I just don't. In P7, this is the first rating to share a ranking with another team, so you can take the next two interchangeably. We're going to start with Williams. Let's chat about the promo for a second. That shit had me so pumped up for this year.
Now, we've got a different story to tell.
It has me thinking that Roddy from Flushed Away knows what he's doing. He's gassed up the team. Albon means business. Logan Sargent, for some reason, looks really scary. As I said, a nose is a big focal point for me, and I think they cooked here with the red stripe. It just looks so good. It's very similar to last year. Again, the blue is a little bit darker in spots. I'm not sure why they've planted the Haas team principal's name on the side of the car, but you lose points for that. I know this sponsorship was there last year, but I don't think any sponsorship will get better than the Williams Duracell sponsorship. I think it's bang on, and it's exactly where it needs to be. I also like that the rear wing now says Williams instead of Williams Racing. Now for what I don't like. I'm not a big fan of how the My Protein is just slapped onto the side of the car. I like that it's a more dark blue, but I like the shapes on last year's car a lot more. But overall, I like it better than last year. Now for P6, you can interchange this with Williams because I also give it a 7.5. What they released early and what they released on launch day look like two different shades of orange. That's right, we're talking about McLaren. I put it in P6. The wheel caps are always going to be a massive W for me, but the orange looks darker now, and I like it. I am a fan of exposed carbon fibre against what most people say this season. I think the McLaren has not cooked here though. I think sometimes less is more, and as you'll see with my list, I genuinely believe that. But this is not enough. For a team that loves papaya so much, where is the papaya? And then you look at the F1 Academy car. That's where it is. I think they put so much gas into this livery that they ran out when it comes to the race suit. Also, why is Oscar photoshopped into this photo? It's like asking for a medium rare steak and getting it well done. It's not quite what you want, but it'll do. Looking at the list so far, we're just about halfway through, and it's got me wondering why all the midfield teams are showing so much exposed carbon fibre. Is it cheaper? Is it to do with the budget cap? Does it make them faster? If one team doesn't do it, are they at a disadvantage? How is it that the two quickest teams, Red Bull and Ferrari, never do this, but they're still at the top? I'm not quite clever enough to figure it out, so if you know, let me know in the comments. Now to P5, it's the reigning defending champions, Red Bull. I feel like a lot of people get confused, and I used to as well, with putting Red Bull last because we've seen it before, but I'm not ranking how new something is because then steak would be at the top. I'm ranking how much I like it, and my philosophy with Red Bull is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think it's gas. I think if I was a race car driver and I looked in my wing mirror to see who's behind me, this is the car I would be most scared to see, especially if it had number 1 planted on the front of it. There's a few things I would tweak. The bull looks smaller, I can't confirm that though, and the nose is yellow, like the yellow tip of the nose just hits me the wrong way. But we've seen it for the last 10-15 years, so there's no need to stick on this for too much longer. They're in P5. Now we are getting down to the pointy end. There are 4 teams left. With Red Bull getting an 8, I only see it fit that this team is in front of them because I do like this livery more, but only a little bit more. It's an 8.5. Visa Cash App RB, I have a bone to pick. With a new branded team and Kendrick Lamar performing at your car launch, who thought it was a good idea not to stream it, huh? Who? With every single car this year, I've looked at it and I've said good or bad. I might have changed my mind, but I've had a feeling towards it. This car, I really had to sit and stew in it. I had no idea how I felt. Granted, it was 6 a.m. in the morning. I was still trying to figure out who I was and what I was doing here, but I got to the point where I liked it. This is adding a little bit of a splash of color to the grid while also looking like Toro Rosso. But my score on this isn't based on nostalgia. It's based on what I think it looks like. I think the Hugo and Orlin on the front and rear wings respectively is nice. However, I don't like so much how it's shared with Cash App on both of them. The car is so big, why does Cash App need to be there? The Visa along the side pod really works well, and it's a hint back to the AlphaTauri of 2022, which was my favourite AlphaTauri livery. Also, the all-in wing mirrors are back, and the bull behind the driver is sick. I think it's awesome. I think the 3 ahead of it are better, and rightfully so, but an 8.5 out of 10 for P4 is very nice. There are 3 teams left, and the next 2, they share a score, so again, 2nd and 3rd you can use interchangeably. Arguably that brings RB up into the podium, but you can take it the way you will. We'll start with P3, a car that has already been beached. That's right, we can only talk about one. The only. 9 out of 10, Ferrari. The wheel hubs are cool. Everything just works. The hint to the race-winning Le Mans car as well is just the red, the yellow, the white. It all works. Is the red arguably darker? If it is, it's a big tick. My only gripe with it is the fin at the back is now red instead of black, and above the side pod is black instead of red. Swap those around, it could be my favourite. The race suits are fire, the helmets are fire, although I prefer Carlos's more. I'm sorry, Ferrari fans, if you're genuinely upset by me putting it third, I don't know what to tell you. But keep in mind, it shares the same score, a 9 out of 10, with the next livery. This launch was so funny because it's just like, bang, here's the car. Lewis, are you moving to Ferrari? The front on angle is just pure sex appeal. The Patronus blue stripe that starts at the nose and goes all the way along the car is just so fire. It's nice to see some actual side pods, but I have just one gripe with the car, and it's enough to knock it down a whole one score. The INEOS, the INOS logo needs to change. The two stripes on the front wing and the rear wing, I like how it's a mix between the black and the silver livery. I loved both, and now they've just been combined. You add on to the fact that this is Lewis Hamilton's last Mercedes car, and it's gas, and it's a 9 out of 10. It's tidy, it's clean, it's one of my favourites, but it is not the favourite. Anyone who has done some detective work will know that there's one car left, and it's very controversial. It is, for me, close to perfection. This is one of the only cars where it has not changed from the rankings last year. Last year, I thought this car was so gas, and I said it just needs a little bit more black. The blue livery was sick. The pink one was dog shit. But now I like the pink one better. I'm talking about Alpine. It's a 9.5. This livery is such a top 2 or a bottom 2 for everyone, and for me, it's a number 1. I genuinely think this team is allergic to making a bad livery. This is one of my favourite liveries of all time. It is definitely my favourite livery since I've started watching in 2019. It's very controversial because of the amount of carbon fibre on this thing. I've seen some wild reactions to it, but if I'm completely honest, Pantone, the bloke who designed the car, I don't know if he needs a raise or a blowjob. This is a crazy livery, and he's cooked so hard. You can also tell this is not a poor team. I'm a sucker for pink and purple, sue me. Yes, it's not purple, but purple is close to blue. Comparing it to last year, it is marginally better, but marginally better still puts it number 1 overall. Those are my rankings for this season. Controversial, I know. When I streamed this on YouTube, everyone flamed me in chat, but it's my opinion, and that's the best thing about opinions. They can't be wrong because they're yours. My other socials are in the description. If there's an upcoming stream, you'll see that on my YouTube channel. And of course, let me know what your favourite livery and least favourite of this season are in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. I've been F1 Luke Sam, and you guys, as always, have been amazing. Stay safe.